to Hari Guru and Vaishnavas in a traditional way. Those who know them can join us. Om Agyantimirandasya Ginanjana Salokaya Chakshurmilitam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yana Bhuttale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bhutaya Mahaprema Pravibhur Nirmaya Kshate Dhamasha Bhakti Gunan Sadasa Sadasatmaka Ilan Krishna Bhagavan Vacham Sime Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, before we read from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 19, Texts 5 and 6, I wanted to thank Ananda Bihari Prabhu and all of you for allowing me to have your wonderful association. And today we'll say a few words on the verse. So Ananda Bihari suggested that it should be a typical Hare Krishna class when you read text, translation, purport, and then fully ignore everything what's been said and speak about whatever you want to speak about. So it's a joke, of course. He didn't say that. But this is how Hridayananda Maharaj defines traditional Hare Krishna classes. So today we'll follow that pattern. Of course, we will try to connect the subject to today's glorious event. And I suppose Ananda Bihari Prabhu can correct me if I'm wrong. I suppose I'll just chant the verse and read translation and purport, and that's
yeah. We can keep it brief, Maharaj.
Sure. Yes, that's good. So this is the Sanskrit of this text. Satirya kupat sushrino sushroni tameva chakame kila taya vritam samudvikasya bhavyo chan kanta kamini pivanam sashrulam prishtam mitbamsam yabhakritam sa eka japsha tasam bhavinam rachivardhanam remekamagraha grasta atmanam navabudhyata. Translation. When the she-goat, who had very nice hips, got out of the well and saw the very handsome he-goat, she desired to accept him as her husband. When she did so, many other she-goats also desired him as their husband, because he had a very beautiful bodily structure and a nice mustache and beard, and was expert in discharging semen and in the art of sexual intercourse. Therefore, just as a person haunted by a ghost exhibits madness, the best of the he-goats, attracted by the many she-goats, engaged in erotic activities, and naturally forgot his real business of self-realization. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Materialists are certainly very much attracted by sexual intercourse. Yan maithunadi grihamedi sukham hitucham. Although one becomes a grihasta, a householder, to enjoy sex life to his heart's content, one is never satisfied. Such a lusty materialist is like a goat, for it is said that if goats meant for slaughter get the opportunity, they enjoy sex before being killed. Human beings, however, are meant for self-realization. Tapodivyam putrkayena sattvam shudye dyasmad brahma sukhyam tvanantam. Human life is meant for realization of the self, the spiritual soul within the body, dehinosmin yadhadehe. A materialistic rascal does not know that he is not the body, but the spirit soul within the body. However, one should understand his real position and cultivate knowledge by which to get free from bodily entanglement. Like an unfortunate person who acts madly, haunted by ghosts, a materialist haunted by the ghost of lust forgets his real business so that he can enjoy so-called happiness in the bodily concept of life. Hare Krishna. So, this chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam is entitled King Yayati Achieves Liberation. So, story of one of the great kings who really wanted to enjoy this material world, and unfortunate tribulations he had to go through to get his enjoyment, including begging his own son for his youth.
Papa, in that project that I was doing for French on
Yeah,
I think it was Wednesday.
Mute yourself. Thank you. So, and in here, this part of the chapter describes how, he realizes the futility of material enjoyment, and tells this allegorical story to his wife, so that he could also realize the futility of that attempts to enjoy in this world, which result in misery. And so the greatest enjoyment is sex, attraction, and lust, as Krishna speaks in Bhagavad Gita, is all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. So this is a big problem for us, and lust means desire to enjoy in a very selfish way. So people call it love, but it's not, and it causes a lot of troubles. Lust results in greed, pride, anger, and a host of other problems in our lives. And what's the solution? The solution is developing bhakti, and not just bhakti, but prema bhakti, loving devotion to the Supreme Lord. And this brings us to today's glorious event of Govardhan Puja, because Govardhan is a hill, but it's a very special hill because this hill is glorified in Srimad Bhagavatam in many nice ways. Krishna glorifies Govardhan hill as himself. He says, this hill is myself. And then Srimati Radharani is glorifying this hill as Haridasa Varya in a famous text from the 10th canto, chapter 21, verse 18. Antaya Madri Rabala Haridasa Varyo Yam Ramakrishna Charana Sparasha Pramoda Manam Tanoti Sahago Ganayostayoryat Paniya Suyavasa Kandara Kandamulai. So she says, of all the devotees, this Govardhan hill is the best. Oh, my friends, this hill supplies Krishna and Balaram along with their cows, and cowherd friends, with all kinds of necessities, water for drinking, very soft grass, caves, fruits, flowers, and vegetables. In this way, the heel offers respects to the Lord. Being touched by the lotus feet of Krishna and Balaram, Govardhan heel appears very jubilant. So very interesting that Krishna says Govardhan is myself, but Srimati Radharani says no, Govardhan is Krishna's servant. But who is right? And we can understand if scriptures make apparently contradicting statements, we should try to reconcile these statements by expanding our consciousness, right? Krishna consciousness means very broad consciousness. And actually, there is a way for the Lord to be in the role of a servant. And we know very well Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the Supreme Lord in the role of his servant. And that's why we can see in Chaitanya Charitamrita the descriptions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming to Govardhan, and he was crying tears and embracing Govardhan. And Govardhan was melting in Lord Chaitanya's hands as well, out of love. So Govardhan is very special manifestation of the Supreme Lord who serves everyone just like the servant and fulfills everybody's desires. So this very, very special hill is situated in Braj Bhumi. And historically, as it's been described in Srimad Bhagavatam, at one point, Krishna wanted to introduce all the residents of Braj to how special Govardhan Hill is. And he took the occasion when the residents of Vrindavan, they wanted to worship Lord Indradev, and Krishna told them basically, there is no need to worship Indradev because our lives are fully dependent on Govardhan Hill, and let's worship Govardhan instead. And he charmed everyone because Krishna was only 7 years old boy. And so Nanda Maharaj agreed. First he said, okay, let's worship Indra and then we can worship Govardhan Hill for your pleasure. But Krishna said, I don't want to wait. Let's use everything we prepared for worshiping Indra to worship Govardhan. And so it did happen today, on this very day, which is next day after Diwali celebration. And so everyone was worshiping Govardhan. Of course, Indra was not happy with that, and he tried to attack everybody, but then Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill, and everyone was protected by the Giriraj. And so it is very interesting that the Giriraj plays such an important role in Krishna's pastime, and Krishna himself highlights a special position of Govardhan Hill and glorifies him as non-different from himself. And so in order to have better understanding, we should understand the origin of Govardhan in the spiritual world, in the kingdom of God, Galoka Vrindavan, wherein it's been described that Krishna one day found Srimati Radharani in a kind of somber mood. She looked pretty serious, and Krishna wants to see Radharani always happily smiling. So he was asking her, why are you so serious? And Radharani said, I'm just thinking that we have so many wonderful places for our pastimes, but they kind of spread around, distant from one another. And it would be so nice to keep them all together, to have all the gardens, all the lakes and caves and waterfalls all together in one place. And Krishna said, whatever you desire, I have to do it. And then he looked right inside of his heart, and in the core of his heart, he saw the essence of his love for Srimati Radharani. And then he took this essence out and he placed it in the ground, and it started growing. And it grew bigger and bigger until Krishna had to stop this mountain with his own hand, because it threatened to cover everything, cover entire Goloka Vrindavan, unless stopped from growing. And then this became Govardhan Hill, and it had everything for the pleasure of the divine couple and all the devotees and for their pastimes. And Radharani was very happy. And when the time had come for Krishna and Radharani to come to this material world, to reincarnate themselves, Srimati Radharani said, I cannot live without Braj, I can't live without Govardhan Hill. And Krishna said, no problem. We'll take everything down with us to the material world. And so Govardhan Hill originates from Goloka Vrindavan, and we can understand that it's not just a mountain. It is personification of Krishna's love towards Srimati Radharani. And this is why Govardhan Hill is so unlimitedly merciful, and he fulfills every desire of every devotee, everyone who comes to Giriraj. Nobody leaves frustrated. And we were mentioning how ecstatic were the meetings between Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Govardhan, because Govardhan is personified Krishna's love towards Srimati Radharani, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is personified love of Srimati Radharani towards Krishna. And so we can understand how ecstatic it was when two loves, they would meet, right? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Govardhan Hill. And so glories of Giriraj are unlimited, but unfortunately our time is limited. And we wanted to leave a little more time for all of you to share your thoughts, or perhaps ask if you have any questions. Because I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who have experience with Giriraj Govardhan. And yes, that I can tell that I've been lucky by the mercy of my spiritual master, Srila Indradimna Swami, because by his will, by his desire, he gave me Govardhan Shila to worship. And it was in 98, so 23 years back. And yeah, I have a lot of experience how beneficial it is to worship Giriraj. He's been very kind to me, as he is kind to everybody. So today is a very special day, And please, all of you can share your realizations on this day. And if there are any questions, we can also try to answer them. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Maharaj, thank you very much. Wonderful presentation. And so we heard that your Giriraj, that little deity that you have, is a wish-fulfilling deity. Is that true? And so my question is, what kind of desire can that deity satisfy? Is that for material desires or spiritual desires or both? How does that work?
Yeah, thank you for this question. Apparently, because Giriraj is Krishna immersed in love of Radharani, and Radharani is famous for bringing new devotees to Krishna. And as Prabhupada says, when Radharani brings someone, she says, Krishna, please accept this wonderful devotee. He or she is much better than myself. And Krishna is so shocked by this statement because everyone knows that there is no one who is better than Radharani, but on Radharani's recommendation, he accepts everybody. And so, because he loves Radharani so much, and he cannot tell no to her. And so, because Govardhana is personification of Krishna's love towards Radharani, so Govardhan fulfills every single desire anyone has. And it apparently doesn't matter for Giriraj whether your desire is material or spiritual. I'm not sure if Giriraj fulfills any vicious desires, any negative desires to harm someone or whatever. But yeah, otherwise he fulfills every single desire, no matter what people ask. And yeah, I discovered that because so many people were telling me, I prayed to your Giriraj and my desire became fulfilled in a very short time. And then I thought, okay, let more devotees take advantage of that and ask whatever they want. And yeah, Giriraj would, that one interesting thing about Govardhan and why Govardhan is so special in our tradition is that Govardhan has three very special functions. And first function, which was described by Krishna to encourage everyone to do Govardhan Puja, is that Giriraj is providing us with everything in our lives. So Giriraj is supply department in Braj. So Giriraj is supply department for all the devotees. So whatever you want any facility for your devotional service, even if you want money to do some preaching or whatever you want, you can ask Giriraj, no problem. And the second is that function which Giriraj displayed when he was lifted by Krishna, because he was protecting devotees from so much calamity, right? When Indra was sending all these rains and hail and storm, but everyone was happily enjoying association with Krishna under the Govardhan hill. So Giriraj is the best supplier, the best protector, and the most important function of Giriraj is that under the Govardhan hill, there was no difference who had whatever rasa with Krishna. Everyone was equally enjoying Krishna's association. So Giriraj is uniting everyone around Krishna, because Krishna was in the center. As we know, the fourth purpose of ISKCON is to bring everyone around Krishna, right? So yes, I could see that Giriraj was uniting devotees when they had troubles. They were praying to him to get together, to resolve their differences. Giriraj was fulfilling that desire. Devotees needed some facility, whatever it was. in Krishna's service. Giriraj was doing that for them, and protection. I mean, I had personal experiences. Giriraj was protecting me in so many troublesome situations, and amazingly, with amazing creativity. So I don't know if you want me to go into any more details than that.
Thank you, Maharaj. Yes, so thank you very much. I remember when I was getting married 10 years ago in India, I prayed to your Giriraj to have a good marriage. And here I am 10 years after. Nothing has fallen apart so far. Everything is good. We're getting along. Thank you. So the credit goes to Giriraj. Giriraj
Yeah.
Maharaj ki jai.
Right. Thank you. That's a good news. Makes me very happy.
Right. Okay, devotees, go jump in. Now is the time.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare
Yeah, it was so fascinating to hear about the origin of Giriraj. But could you break the name down for me, please? I think Raj means king, and how about Giri?
Giri means hill.
Oh,
King of the
okay.
hill.
Uh-huh.
Giriraj.
Okay, and also I did get a little fuzzy when you were describing its genesis. You know, when Radharani said that, you know, all these places are so spread apart. I wish everything were more consolidated. Is it at that time that that Krishna just got absorbed in his love for her? I'm trying to get the sequence there, or the connection, how it happened. Can you repeat that part for me?
Yes. When Radharani expressed her desire, Krishna was thinking how to fulfill it. And then he looked inside of his heart and saw the essence of his love for Srimati Radharani there. And then from the essence of this love, he created Govardhan.
Okay. Yeah, and I guess that would have been before, you know, obviously that had to have been before Indra attacked the Brajbasis. When did that happen in the
Well, that story is from Galoka Vrindavan, from Kingdom of God, before coming to this material world. But Indra, of course, attacked Krishna when he was on this planet.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Maharaj.
You're welcome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Angela,
All right.
go ahead.
Hare Krishna.
Hare.
I was curious on finding out. So is that why we have a chaotic world, because of the fact that Krishna is always trying to fulfill our heart desires, and in reality, I know he loves Radha, but it's and in this book, I really appreciate how you also said in Krishna's consciousness, we have to have a broadened mind in order to understand the sacred literature. But I'm curious to know now, because I feel like in my heart, what I've received from God is, which Krishna, is that, you know, you guys are here on this earth to fulfill that, whatever it is, desire to create, to that ego that arises, so you can have whatever you want, you can create whatever you want, but just understand there's not consequences, but it's cause and effect. So everything is Krishna, and based on from what you share from the Bhagavatam, it seems like Radha just wanted everything together, and the oceans, the lands, the hills, everything. So that was the I'm sorry, I'm very new to this, so I can't remember the hill.
Govardhan. Govardhan.
Govinda. And
Govardhan.
sorry, I'm taking Sanskrit classes, so bear with me. And apologies for my ignorance.
No problem.
But is that why there's so much chaos in this world? Because of the fact that we have Krishna's just really trying to fulfill all those desires for everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Angel. It was very good question. Actually, Srila Prabhupada describes in one purport in Srimad Bhagavatam that the wealthy man is praying to God, please protect my wealth from criminals, and the criminal is praying to God, please let me break into the house of this wealthy man and steal his money. Like that. So, and that's why, and Krishna has to fulfill everybody's desire, right? And also do it in such a way that somehow or other, all these people make few more steps towards him and realize him. And that's why Srila Prabhupada says, we can never really understand God's plans, but we just have to surrender to him and do what he wants us to do. So yeah, that only Krishna, like managing this whole crazy world, only Krishna can do. That's why he's the only one fit for the job. Like that, it's a big operation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. And so today is it's materializing all of that, and because of the hill.
Well, this hill is personified love, and this is what we are missing in our lives, because there is no happiness without love, and real love is pure love. And so Giriraj is pure love of the Lord towards his devotees.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
It's such a beautiful class. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, we still have a few more minutes. If anyone has questions or comments, you're welcome.
Yes, so Maharaj, you said that it's all Krishna's fault, that we have so much craziness in the world. That Krishna is responsible for that. Do we have any part to play in the sense that what we're desiring, is there any way we can contribute to reducing the chaos in the world by desiring the right things?
Yeah, of course. This is why it's recommended that we associate with saintly people, because saintly people have right desires. And, in terms of the unity Giriraj is providing, I'm always fascinated by the first purpose of ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada's first purpose, and this is the desire which is always in the hearts of every single pure devotee, whether it's Srila Prabhupada or Prahlad Maharaj or anyone else. Prahlad Maharaj expresses pretty much the same desire in Srimad Bhagavatam 5, what's that number? Really bad with numbers. So it's 589, Srimad Bhagavatam, famous Svastyasti Vishvasa Kala Prasidatam verse, where in Prahlad Maharaj prays that let everyone will be happy in their spiritual practice, and let all the hostility ends in the world and everyone lives happily with love and peace, basically speaking. And then this is the first purpose of ISKCON, is to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large and teach all people the techniques of spiritual life in order to check the imbalance of values in life and achieve real unity and peace in the world. Which is, like really ambitious if we think about it, right? Because in one sense, it's more ambitious than going back home, back to Godhead. Because for going back to Godhead, we have to become perfectly, spiritually perfect individually, right? But then what the first purpose of ISKCON is asking us to do is to convert the whole material world into spiritual world, at least this planet, right? Make this planet completely spiritual, because only in that case there will be real unity and peace in the world. So it's really ambitious, impossible goal Srila Prabhupada set for us. But this is the meditation and the desire of all the pure devotees, and we was associate with them, then we'll feel the same great compassion in our hearts, and we'll forget about our selfish material desires and work tirelessly for the benefit of all.
Yeah, thank you, Maharaj. Venkatesh has a question in chat board. He says, how can we relate to and feel kind reciprocation from Giriraj, Govardhan? How to reciprocate with the hill, Venkatesh is asking.
Yeah, well, you can see so many people doing Govardhan Parikrama. They circumambulate Giriraj, they bathe Giriraj with water, milk, and offer him flowers like that. So basically speaking, Govardhan is like a big deity. So in the same way as you worship deity, you can worship Giriraj. And if you cannot do it physically, at least in your mind, you can do that. And also listening the glories of Govardhan is part of the worship as well.
Actually,
Venkatesh, if you want to reciprocate with, feel Krishna's reciprocation from Giriraj, you have to get in touch with Maharaj's Giriraj deity. That's when you feel reciprocation. So, yeah, Gail, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, actually, I was going to repeat his question because I read it as how do we experience reciprocation from Giriraj, not how do we reciprocate with Giriraj. But I was also going to ask if you, Maharaj, would care to share one of your experiences with your Giriraj, how you felt his protection.
Okay. So one of the last stories is when I was going to Singapore, flying from Australia. And I was very excited because I got Indian visa at the last moment. Otherwise, there was a risk that I won't be able to get it and will be denied entry into the country. And in that jolly mood, I completely forgot that you cannot enter Singapore in devotional clothing, because Singapore is very strict about not allowing any foreign missionaries to come into the country. And some devotees were, denied. Even Srila Prabhupada was denied entry into Singapore because he was considered to be foreign missionary. And so all preachers, always, at least Western preachers, because Indians, they can afford going in dhoti and everything, because it's like Indians dressed like Indians, no one objects. But all white preachers for black preachers, whatever case might be, have to change into casual clothing for going through the borders. And I completely forgot, and I realized on the plane that I haven't changed. And I was really shocked because I thought if I'll be blacklisted from coming to Singapore because, you know, yeah, it would cause a lot of unnecessary trouble. So I started praying to Giriraj very, very earnestly so that he could help to avoid this calamity. I had no idea how, because it was practically 100% guaranteed that I'll be denied entry. So whole flight, which was the long flight, I was like really praying to Giriraj to figure something out and, you know, correct my mistake. And when I landed and, you know, like tilak on my face and everything like now, I went to the immigration. And right before I came there, the officer got distracted by the other officer and they started discussing something important. And when I put my passport on the counter, she took it, but she was still talking to that colleague of her. And then briefly she looked at my passport, and while continuing talking to the colleague, she never looked at my face, right? She only looked at my picture on the passport, which was like breach of their procedures, right? And then she stamped my passport, and without looking at me, she put the passport back on the counter, and I walked out. I was completely shocked. And the devotee who received me at the airport, he couldn't believe it. He said, why are you in devotional dress? I said, well, this is what happened. And he said, historically, you are the first foreign missionary who went through the borders like that and was not stopped. And so it's quite amazing how Giriraj can figure things out.
Wow, that was an amazing story. Thank you, Maharaj.
All right, so looks like we ran out of time.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Maharaj, I thought Giriraj would manifest a pair of pants or something, but he played out differently for you. He distracted the agent. A pair of pants.
Pair of pants. Oh yeah. Well, Giriraj likes, you know, to be creative. So before we leave, let me give everyone a little darshan of Giriraj. Let's see if we can.
Can you tell us who Giriraj is in the screen for someone who might not know?
Yeah, so it's a stone from that original hill, and any stone can be worshipped as the Supreme Lord. So that's the idea, because Krishna said he's not different from Govardhan and he can be worshipped in this form.
So is that little triangle on the...
That's right, yeah. With eyes and smile. So that's him.
Thank you, Maharaj.
All right. So thank you all very much for your kind attention. And please bless me so that I could continue doing Govardhan Puja my whole life as per instruction of my spiritual master. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Wonderful presentation. Very relatable, lively. Thank you very much. Okay.
Giriraj Govardhan ki jai.
Jai.
Jai. Grantaraj Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Hare
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Have a wonderful day. Have a good day, everyone. See you tomorrow.